listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
What's going on out there to my sports coma family?
Hey, y'all.
January 3rd, 2018. Podcast 126. You're now listening to the Sports Coma Live Edition. That's right, live. For 2018, so first and foremost, I'd like to wish everybody out there in sports land a happy new year. And in this new year, hope y'all got your resolutions together to be a bigger and better version of yourselves, as we're hoping for our sports team to have bigger and better versions of themselves. And speaking of bigger and better versions of themselves, in this episode, DC is in-house, in-studio.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking you weren't going to introduce me.
I don't forget, my brother. I never forget. In this episode, family, we're going to be talking about a lot of interesting news events. Of course, the Sports Coma deals exclusively with our Louisiana pro teams and college teams. And we know quite often that the New Orleans Saints, which have been doing a lot of great things this year, my friend, 11-5 on the year. They were 4-4 on the road, but excellent in the dome. Met up with Tampa in the season finale, and many people thought that with a win, the Saints could climb. They could climb in the rankings, the playoff rankings, and of course capture the number 3 seed, which would, made things a lot better going forward, but couldn't close the deal against this Tampa Bay team. They ultimately lost the game 31-24, allowing Tampa Bay to score 18 points on them in the final quarter to ultimately steal the game right from up under them. But we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of those topics. First, let me give you the rundown, as we're going to talk about how the Saints backed in, as DC said, moonwalked,
man. They ain't backing
into the division title. We also talk about the studs and duds on today's episode. We're going to give you an injury update and maybe a few transaction notes, if any. Big D and little O. Big D, little O. What that means is big defense as they turned it up. 3 interceptions for the New Orleans Saints defense.
Coming a trend, huh?
They are doing it big. And then big defense, little offense. Saints struggled offensively to get it done. Is that a troubling sign coming ahead? Well, we'll discuss that as well. And speaking of troubling sign coming ahead.
Like flavors such as vanilla, because that's how they look.
They did look pretty real vanilla, man. I mean, bland, sugarless vanilla. QB trouble. Should we be concerned with this game and the last couple of games, actually, of Drew Brees' performance? Should we be concerned moving ahead? We'll discuss that. Our fantastic rookies, Alvin Kamara and Marshawn Lattimore, those guys, our fantastic rookies. Our fantastic rookies. Where are they at in the race to be the rookies of the year? It's never been in the history.
What they at in the race?
Right.
They're racing each other.
This is my thing. Of course, everybody's talking about Hunt. Kareem Hunt is throwing him in there. And a few other things.
Either one of them. I can't put Kareem Hunt over Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah, I know, but there's never been in the history of the NFL a team that had offensive and defensive rookies that came from the same squad. So that's real interesting, although I think it's hands down, but we'll still get into that. The case for Cam Jordan, league MVP. How about that? We'll break it down and say why Cam Jordan should be the MVP in this league. And, of course, a lot of people base league
defensive
MVP.
Defensive
MVP.
MVP.
I was just about to say that.
Right.
Defensive league, league defensive MVP. A lot of people base it back on the sacks and the production. Although they did have guys that had more sacks than Cam, but more who did those guys provide such an impact as Cam did for New Orleans? For the New Orleans Saints is the thing. In the case, we'll talk about the case for Cam for defensive MVP. Also, Peyton's interesting exchange with Tampa Bay head coach Dirk Cotter at the end of the Tampa Bay win. Real interesting. We'll get into that play a little bit.
Thought he was a female dog type dude. Is that clean enough?
I don't know. It was kind of funny watching the whole play out, but we'll talk about that as well.
I want to talk about it right now.
Just two big kids. Just two big ass kids. Good game. You know,
it was funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
That was hilarious.
But then later on in the final segment of the Sports Coma, today we're doing a 1 hour podcast as far as the Saints and LSU is concerned. We'll talk about the LSU matchup and recap that game against Notre Dame in the Citrus Bowl, as the Tigers fell 21-17 in the last minute with a touchdown from Notre Dame, ultimately running it into the end zone. The secondary gave up a big one. Jackson, in particular, gave up a big one, who I've been saying for all season long is overrated. And we'll talk about that, and we'll preview what the Tigers look going ahead into 2018. So with that said, we'll cycle it back to the leading story, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Saints 31-24. Defense allowing 18 points in the fourth quarter. Ultimately, did it in for the Saints. Ultimately, so DC believes that the Saints didn't want to win the game, and that they basically.
I'm not gonna say necessarily they didn't want to win. I don't think they pulled out all the stops to make sure that they won. I don't think they cared. I don't think the Saints are scared to play Minnesota. But let's be real. Do you really want to play Minnesota in the second round if you don't have to? Wouldn't you rather play the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, I would imagine so. Nobody wants to see that Minnesota team because of that stout defense and that running game.
You just don't want to see them that soon. I'd like to see them in the championship game or something like that.
Well, a lot of things can happen between there.
Like, I think they would be excited to see Minnesota or Atlanta in an NFC championship game. I actually think our team would be motivated and happy that they could redeem themselves against one of those teams.
You might be right, because we see how Minnesota's been playing, man, and they've been a terror, man. I just gonna be honest with you, they've been a really difficult team. A lot of teams don't want to see Minnesota, but of course Minnesota has home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and it just so happens that the Super Bowl is in Minnesota.
Right.
So this would be quite interesting if they can actually be the first team to make it there.
I want to see them play Minnesota in the championship, because I know there ain't no way in hell they're gonna let them get to the championship game. That ain't happening.
No.
All those tourists who gonna go to the Mall of America? Surely nobody from Minnesota. They not gonna be in there buying stuff.
That'd be interesting, because it never happened before. That's most certain.
It's a reason it don't never happen. Remember when they put the water on the field for the Saints and they was hitting Pierre Thomas upside the head with none of with them no calls and all kind of stuff we had.
Yeah, had a lot of curious stuff going on.
They made sure we wasn't gonna get to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, because I mean, who we would have had to play after the 49ers? Who would have been the Giants? The Giants ain't stopping us.
It's amazing, man. I think a lot of the stuff that we was dealing with this game, watching this game, Tampa Bay outscored moved the ball. They had 455 total yards in this game against the Saints 223 yards. Time of possession 3-minute part, but the real big difference, in my opinion, is the turnovers. The Saints weren't able to convert a lot of those turnovers into points. They had 3 turnovers. 3 interceptions, but were not able to turn those turnovers into any considerable points that can help them outstand the game, which ultimately kept the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this contest.
Fall on our Bluebell ice cream offense.
Well, I mean, the Saints, it wasn't just that. The special teams also played pretty pretty poorly. Tommy Lee Lewis, if it wasn't for Elvin Kamara's 106-yard kick return, then Tommy Lee Lewis fumbling the ball away, that ultimately became a touchdown for Tampa Bay. I mean, this is a real interesting development when you look at it, because you would think the defense is playing at an elite level right now. The offense usually plays at an elite level, and they're struggling as of late. And then you have the special teams, who's been kind of at even kill. They hadn't been too spectacular, and they haven't been too poor. They just done just enough to not hurt you like they cost you 3 games last year. So they've been playing right at a level where they were able to not be a negative and not be so much of a positive. So now with Tommy Lee Lewis fumble, that was a major impact. I mean, I don't feel too comfortable having a guy like Alvin Kamara sitting back there kick returning for me. I mean, he's one of my top players. I don't want to put him in harm's way, get hurt on a special teams play when I'm supposed to have guys I'm paying to do that.
Right.
So, that's the thing. But
I disagree with you slightly on that point. I think if we wouldn't have had Alvin Kamara back there, a couple of these games, we would have definitely had to do what I'm observing as the Saints not wanting to really open up their offensive playbook. It seems to me for the last maybe several games, they've been kind of preparing themselves for the playoffs and not really going overly deep into their offensive sets. And Alvin Kamara, I guess that's a weapon you would have liked to see save for the playoffs, maybe, in kick returning.
Right.
But, I mean, he's only done it maybe the last 2 games, maybe 3. I can't be real mad at him about that, man. If they'd been doing it the whole year, I definitely would agree with your standpoint. But he's a dynamic player, man. We got to take the handcuffs off him at some point.
Well, I mean, that's what it comes down to. The special teams can't hurt us. They can't come into this game and, of course, stop the Saints or hurt the Saints in any capacity. They can only help to enhance the team's opportunities to win these games. And, of course, like I said, I would prefer for them to win this game, because I think that if you're going to get into the playoffs, I won't play the baddest man on the block. You know what I'm saying? That'll challenge who the hell I am to see if I'm fit, if I could take on, because I think the Saints, they got dismantled by Minnesota in week 1, but that wasn't the real Saints. Right. I think the team that you've seen play for the duration of the season, winning time, I think the team that won 11 games this year, that's the real Saints, and they didn't arrive until after, a few weeks after they met up with Minnesota and learned those hard lessons. Minnesota would not beat the Saints twice in the same year. It's
actually a really balanced matchup when you think about it, because the same edge that you could say Minnesota has on defense, we would have on offense. So, and our defense isn't bad, just like their offense isn't bad. So, it's a pretty balanced matchup. It's 2 teams that neither one of them, in my opinion, I'd be like is way better than the other. I guess a lot of people who aren't Saints fans may disagree and say Minnesota is a way better team than New Orleans, but when you really look at it and look at the numbers, it's an evenly matched team. As good as we are on offense, that's how good they are on defense. And as good as they are on offense, that's how good we are on defense. Well, other than turnovers, I think is a category that we may be up there with the defense with.
This is the thing, though. I know this wasn't the real New Orleans Saints team lined up against Tampa. Obviously, it didn't look the same. Offense, it was not the same balance. They didn't run the ball the same way. Mark Ingram wasn't truly.
Game, man, he hadn't even got started.
Right, it was the 26 rushing attempts. They only averaged 3.5 carries a game. But we're gonna go over the statistics here before we go into our first break. And if you look at the total plays, Tampa Bay ran 81 total plays versus the Saints 58 plays. That's absolutely astounding to me. 455 yards off of 81 plays. So basically, that's a lot of extra plays that you only won.
81 plays to get it.
And to be honest with you, if you watch this game, the game started off with the Saints defense being very lackadaisical, allowing them through the young running back, Tampa Bay's running back Barber, just to push the ball downfield with long drives that tied the defense. We can't have that now. Okay, we about to go into our first break. When we come back on the other side of the break, we're gonna get into the highlights, play some highlights, and then we're gonna get you some more stats. We're gonna play some interviews from Sean Payton and a few other guys. Listen to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Stay with us. What's up, sports world? This Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Talking to you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. That's right, theposhlifestyle.com. A great website where you can get great products at great prices. They sell organic herbs, vitamins, supplements, water filters for your home, EMF and cell phone radiation protection, healing magnetics and healing crystals, personal protection devices like cell phones, stun guns, and mace spray, organic deodorants, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, and more. They also sell 10A grade Brazilian hair. 10A music is available now. All kind of the latest downloadable mixtapes. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to theposhlifestyle.com. That's the Posh Lifestyle, life spelled with a Y, LYFD style.com. Put in the Sports Coma for the 10% discount on your purchase. It's a win-win. So get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings and potential moves, unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Wow, what a huge honor it is to be named NBA 2K18 Legend Edition cover athlete. I really wouldn't be here without the guidance, love, and support of my mom and dad. Also, I'd like to thank my coaches, both college and professional. But most of all, I'd like to thank Kobe Bryant. He was the NBA 2K Legend cover athlete first. He's so awesome and handsome and has really nice natural teeth. Wait, what? I'll be looking at his teeth. This ain't over, Kobe. Payback's gonna be fun.
Let me tell you about a news site that carries the news that you would want to know. News that's not the same as the rest of lamestream media, but a site that lets you know about the most important news on health, economics, tech, entertainment, science, food, sports, world news, positive living, paradigm shift, and a lot more. Go to theposhreportonline.co. That's right, theposhreportonline.co. Learn more. And remember, challenge everything.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma Live. And we're still talking about the Saints Tampa Bay matchup. Tampa Bay recapping that terrible Tampa Bay loss, 31-24. Of course, it's a bittersweet situation for the Saints because with the loss, they still win the NFC South, and they will host the the Carolina Panthers in the playoffs. So at home, so that'll be an interesting development, and we'll preview that game coming up Friday. I'm gonna tell you something, man. A lot of people in DC can make fun of me all they want, but there you go. So exactly, because if any team is gonna go to Minnesota and play them hard, it's gonna be the Atlanta Falcons. They're not scared of them. I think they can. I think the Falcons got enough defense and enough running game and Julio Jones and everything. Because remember, Minnesota, didn't they matched up earlier this year? Minnesota,
I think, did they shut them out?
I
don't think they got in the end zone. They may have had a field goal.
Minnesota won that game.
They didn't get in the end zone. It was a low-scoring game.
It was
like
but
13.
But I'm trying to tell you that is the reason why I think that Atlanta has what it takes. They got the running game, they got the wide receiver play, and they're fast enough on the defense to present a problem to the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm rooting not only for my Saints people, Sports Nation, but what I'm rooting for is Atlanta as well. Because if Atlanta keeps winning, and the Saints keep winning, we'll match up again for the third time in the NFC title game. Guess where? in the New Orleans Superdome. So you have an opportunity to host another playoff game on the way to Minnesota. So I'm rooting for them Falcons. So there you go. There you go.
I hope it can happen, but I watched the game when Atlanta played Minnesota, and you know how you can look at a game and you can look at the score, and you be like, oh, okay, that was a close game. But if you actually watch it, you know, you be like, man, it was 13-9 or whatever the score was, but they ain't had a chance in hell at winning that game. Like, it was it was complete nothing. I mean, they were shutting them down. Minnesota's defense, as far as dealing with Atlanta. But it is the playoffs, and this is, I think, something anybody should be concerned with when you think about it. Everybody who gets to the playoffs doesn't necessarily have that next level. Good teams in the playoffs, and I have to throw Carolina in there as well as Atlanta because those are two teams who made it to the Super Bowl. When they got into the playoffs, they had another gear. Does Minnesota have another gear? Does Philly have another gear? We know the Saints have another gear. We're watching them run vanilla plays to hide stuff.
I think it's very difficult to call it. Case Keenum is playing really well, but he's due for a letdown.
He is, but it's the playoffs. The playoffs are
it's
different.
A different level.
From the regular
but I just think that
plays.
Case Keenum is due for a letdown. He has played spectacularly this entire season, but like you said, it's a different level.
And I'm expecting eventually for him all year for the playoffs.
Right. So I'm expecting a letdown from Case Keenum. That's what I think. And as far as Philadelphia is concerned, Nick Foles is not a bad quarterback, but he's not the guy that would have took them there to the playoffs. It was Carson Wentz, and with Wentz out, does that make Philly an easy target? Who knows? So we'll look at it. But before we go, we're going to play a little of these highlights. The highlights of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints matchup Week 7. And as you can see, Peyton Barber got off early, man, against this team. And the funny part about it is, if you look at some of the things that the team did, I think they were able just to establish just running the ball on the Saints early. And Jameis Winston's just doing his little check down things on simple up and out routes. You see Humphries, the little guy, catch the ball. And then this is the little easy run right here. He just gets right in there.
He ain't get in there. I ain't see it.
It's a touchdown.
They call it.
You can see the Saints, all the players got their hands on their on their sides. That was a long
looked like
drive.
It was the fourth quarter.
It was
it
a
looked
long.
tired.
It was a long drive. Then of course
I'm staying.
He go Elvin
No, I'm
Kamara
not. No, I'm
hesitates. If he said he planned to do that, that's an absolute lie. But he wasn't even touched, not even close to be touched, and he took it all the way back.
It's for anybody who said Alvin Kamara didn't have top end speed.
I don't understand why Tommy Lee Lewis can't do this. This is just my thing. I don't get it.
Because Tommy Lee Lewis is Tommy Lee Lewis and not Alvin Kamara.
And there go Jameis Winston. The line parts like the Red Sea, and Winston scoots out and gets a good gain. And that was one of the things I was noticing. That
Winston is deceptively fast.
But still in all, you know he's prone to scramble. But
he doesn't scramble a lot, though. He
like
scrambles to throw.
That's another thing. And there's the first
there
interception by Marcus Williams, who had a fantastic game.
Yes, he did.
Big up to
coming out party for Marcus Williams.
Right. We're going to talk about that, too, later on in our Studs and Duds about that. And, of course, Drew Brees, to me, didn't look all that. He held the ball a lot longer.
This was a nice play.
It is an excellent catch by Mike Thomas.
It wasn't a bad pass. Could have been a better pass.
Did you see he went and got that?
Yeah, if he threw it right, it could have been a touchdown.
And there go Drew, gives it to the man, the rookie of the year.
Untouched.
And he goes to his second untouched touchdown.
The Alvin Kamara show up to this point.
He makes it look easy, man. They tied. It's now 14-7. The Saints lead. Makes it look all easy.
Winston goes back to work. Wide open.
And there goes, I think that's P.J. Williams, wasn't it?
That would have been, P.J.
Von
Williams.
Bell missed the tackle.
P.J. Williams missed the second tackle and Von Bell missed the first one, which would have stopped them on the third down.
Still, Von Bell had a pretty decent game, too, as well. He had a pretty good season.
Yeah, he had a very good season.
And there was
62 tackles,
right there going
4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Von Bell's been the man this year.
And they go Drew back, 7. Now, a lot of things, now that was a beautiful.
Overthrow.
That was a tough one there. He overthrew Ted Ginn. If anything's possible, I ain't think you can overthrow Ted Ginn Jr.
Drew Brees still got an arm now.
Yeah, that's true.
That play, there's no defense for that, man. That was an amazing throw.
That's that little guy, Goodwin, wide receiver.
Third round draft pick, huh?
Yeah, pretty good for him. Doing pretty good. In absence of Deshaun Jackson, who didn't play this game. Then Jameis sticks the ball out really alertly right there.
I
don't see how he got
play.
that, man.
He got it when you watch the replay, man. But it's a lack.
But you had all those players around him. How did we let him get that?
Jameis Winston wanted it more.
No.
If you see the replay when they show it, they're not gonna show replay now, but he wanted it more, man.
And that's what kind of helped the Saints too. Buccaneers extra punter missed the extra point, and that kept the Saints ahead for a little bit. Yeah, the kicker. Kind of like a broken up screen type of deal, and Kamara gets a few out of it.
That's first down.
And Will Lutz with the fake. Now that was actually on Tony McDaniel right there.
Ooh,
nah, he could have got a kick.
He
could have got Will Lutz knocked out, man. And Tony McDaniel, I wouldn't have ran that play with Tony McDaniel. Big ups to Tony. I know he follows us, but Tony know he ain't do right on that one.
I think they should have just kicked the field goal, man.
And great interception right there by
Another guy
Manti
was
Te'o.
having an amazing
Big ups
season
to Manti Te'o, man. A lot of
That's
people
Craig
had him.
Robinson, man.
Was that Craig?
Yeah, 52.
I'm sorry,
Craig Robinson been having an amazing season.
But still, Manti played well too.
He did.
Drew overthrowing people.
Going for Josh Hill, man. Josh Hill hasn't really produced much of anything.
Bad things happen when Drew reaches for
I
Josh.
want to go him third down.
And see, this is Drew Brees holding the ball too much, man. Instead of scrambling.
He had a crowded pocket, so I'm kind of glad he didn't.
But you know what?
He could have fumbled.
But it was 3 instances I've seen where Drew Brees had clear fielding from him, refused to run. It just boggles my mind, man.
39 years old, kid.
I don't care if you're 40 years old. If you got 20 yards in front of
Tom
you.
Brady
I seen Tom Brady scramble a couple of games ago. Do what it takes to get your team to win. Don't hurt them.
If you go back a couple of games, I'm sure you see Drew Brees run 1 for 3 yards. Blown coverage, man. This was just a bad defensive matchup.
I'm just amazed that if Deshaun Jackson was out there, Deshaun Jackson would have killed him.
How do we not get a sack there?
Now that was great play by Marcus Williams. Big ups Marcus Williams on that one.
And check out the toe drag swag to keep his feet in.
Yeah, Marcus Williams has really developed into a big play safety for us. That was a really nice catch. And he does it all, man.
That was kind of a bad throw. And
but that shows his
he
wide
made it work,
skill.
man.
He's good at all of those things, man.
This is the only replay I seen on the whole highlights. They had to replay this. Look at that.
That's amazing to me, man.
God.
He caught that ball like a wide receiver, man. Then held it.
What is that, Quan Alexander? No, that's Vontae Davis. Pretty good linebacker he did that on.
Their best player. Will Lutz kind of shimmied that one in there.
But it goes in, as most of them do.
Yeah.
And here goes the turning point of the game to me.
This is Tommy Lee Lewis.
How do you
not the football player, but the comedian. Tommy Lee Jerry Lewis. That's who showed up right there. Not the football player. And that really was a costly, because if you take that turnover away, the Saints win this game.
This gave them hope, and this gave them the mindset that they could beat us after this point.
They converted this into a touchdown later on too, man. That was
they converted it into a touchdown immediately.
Tommy Lee Jerry Lewis.
7-point swing. You know how Sean Payton feel about these swings. Just fall down, Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee Jerry Lewis.
Put 2 hands on the ball and fall, man.
He's trying to brace himself going down to the grass.
Stay up and keep running to go where.
But hey, listen, we're gonna pause that for a second. We come back to it. We got some more footage we're gonna show you on that. We also got some interviews from Coach Sean Payton, Mike Thomas, Drew Brees on the other side of the break. We also have some more stats we're gonna break down and some more topics we're gonna discuss. All on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Sports Coma live. Stay with us.
Forget ESPN or Fox.
Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free entertainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, and support the true independent artists.
Check out the Crown They Ass World podcast with three kings covering all the news and issues that affect you and the ones you care about, only on the PRO Media Network.
Hello, New Orleans. You're listening to The Sports Coma, your new #1 podcast on everything Saints, Pelicans, and a lot more. And now, here's your host, Big Q and the guys.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma Live Edition. Talking about the Saints, recapping the Saints' 31-24 loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the curious part about the game is the fact that the Saints actually could have won this game. They played a little better without all those stupid turnovers, and particularly Tommy Lee Lewis trying to brace himself before he fell. So, I mean, real interesting. But looking at some of the games, give you a few little news items, breakdowns on the game. With the loss, the Saints finished 11-5 in the regular season, clinching the NFC South title. That's the first time since 2011. It's been a long time. The franchise 6th division title overall and 4th under Coach Sean Payton since he took over in 2006. The Saints host the Panthers Sunday, January 7th at 3:40 Central Time in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Saints currently have a streak of 256 games without having been shut out, of course. And that's dating back to a 26-20 win at Tampa Bay back in 2002. Drew Brees, a little information on him and a few other players. He started his 109th career game as a Saint, putting him in sole possession of third place on the record books. Mark Ingram finished with a team-high 13 carries for just 35 yards. Very ho-hum for Mark Ingram in that game.
Team-high about them 35 yards.
Yeah, it was very ho-hum. If something tells me if he'd have got a lot more carries than at least 18 carries, it probably would have been a different result. Elvin Kamara had 9 carries for 44 yards, but he was all over the place. Kick return, 106-yard return for him, catching, running, doing everything. He was
84 yards receiving, doing that too, and a touchdown.
Big ups to him. Kamara and Ingram are the first running back duo in NFL history. That's ever to each have 1,500 scrimmage yards in the same season. Unreal, unbelievable. Some people coin them as the best tandem ever in NFL history, ever. And when you see stats like that, that speaks big ups to them. Michael Thomas finished the regular season.
It's very difficult to run for 1,000 yards. People underestimate that, but to have two people to rush for 1,000 yards and then also tack on another 400 yards.
It's unreal, man.
It is.
It's unreal. Thomas finished the regular season 104 receptions, setting the club record, which was breaking Jimmy Graham's 2011 99 receptions. Thomas has 196 career receptions, surpassing Miami Dolphins Jarvis Landry, who had 194 in the 2014-2015, having the most catches by an NFL player in his first 2 seasons. Thomas also tied Anquan Boldin for the most consecutive games with 3 receptions to start a career since 1970. Thomas finished with 6 catches for 94 yards. He had a fantastic diving catch too. And Michael Thomas is every bit of the real deal. And then we're going to sprinkle one more player on you. Cam Jordan started his 97 consecutive game, giving him the longest consecutive games played streak among active NFL defensive ends. He played in his 112th consecutive game overall with 1 sack. Today he finished the regular season with 13 quarterback takedowns and surpassing his previous career record of 12.5 back in 2013. Cameron Jordan has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. And here we're going back to the highlights.
He arrived.
He has arrived this year unlike any other year. Cam is here.
He been here since he was a rookie, and he never left, in my opinion.
He ain't been who he is this year as a rookie. Well, here
Cam
we'll finish
has
up the
always
highlights.
been this dominant. He was dominant last year, but this is definitely a career year for him.
Here go the highlights, the rest of the highlights from the Saints and Buccaneers game. Here we go.
Oh, look at Kamara get loose. Man. He like one of them F-bodies on the street with all kind of parts and turbos and superchargers on it.
Don't seem to get tired either.
Ted Ginn is another guy's been having a good year with us, man. Deceptively, too.
He did. Ted didn't really have a solid season for the Saints.
I don't know what's happening to Willie Snead, though. I see Willie Snead on the field, but I never see him doing anything.
Yeah, and there's a dump off to Elton Kamara, the little check down. He gets into the red zone. He's just everything, Mr. Everything for the Saints.
He's Reggie Bush. He's Brandon Cooks.
Darren Sproles.
He's the Bill man.
And Zach Lyon gets his first touchdown right there, the fullback.
You might want to go back and get that football, Zach Lyon. I don't know.
Mike Thomas got it for him. He knew.
Poor tackling. It's the story of the whole game.
Yeah, it's very
too much yards
after
the catch and too many running yards.
And P.J. Williams gets beat again.
Well, that was kind of story again. P.J. Williams getting beat like a drum. As well as our other cornerback who we've been praising for most of the year. Ken Crawley gave up a lot.
He has his times. He has his times.
Yeah.
Once again, like I said, Drew Brees been holding the ball too damn long. What's wrong with throwing the ball away, Drew? That's all I'm saying. Not taking sacks and just throw the damn ball away.
This play,
that shouldn't have happened. How do you push them all the way back?
10, man. 4th and 10. You can't give up that play. Cam Jordan is getting double and triple teamed. How do we not get to the quarterback?
The Saints were rushing 4 and dropping everybody into coverage and still getting beat down the field.
And here comes the backbreaker. I don't understand how this happens. You have one job, and it's to not let them score a touchdown.
Well, it's just amazing because that's the same way.
What else are they going? What route do you think
the
they're
guy
going to run?
gets beat against Notre Dame? It's basically the same thing. The guy catches the ball and beats the other guy to the zone. The same that was the game play. That was the game winner. Same thing against LSU. Same situation.
I mean, what do you think they're gonna do? If anything, you might beat me on a curl route or a slant. What do you think they're gonna do with 23 seconds left?
Got beat by a rookie. Beat him like a drum. Then they were able to get the 2-point conversion. That was
we were demoralized at this point. Rashawn Lattimore, who normally doesn't give up stuff like that, I guess it starts to rub off on you.
Yeah. That was the stats right there.
Wait, they didn't show the post game fight.
No need, no fight left. But anyway, as far as that game goes, the Saints didn't make it happen, of course. And the box score finished Drew Brees 22 of 30 for 245 yards, 1 touchdown. He was sacked twice, minus 14. He had a 73.6 QB rating, but Drew Brees he took a couple of sacks in this game that really hurt them when they needed yards. And what's wrong with just throwing the ball away? I just don't understand that. But Alvin Kamara, 9 carries, 44 yards. Ingram, 13 carries, 35 yards. Combined with all of those guys, 26 carries for 92 yards, 1 touchdown when you look at them all together. Mike Thomas finished the game 6 catches, 94 yards with that long 43-yard target. Alvin Kamara, once again, he's up there, 6 catches, 84 yards. Ted Ginn Jr., 3 catches, 33 yards, 4 catches for Mark Ingram from 19 yards. Nobody else mattered in this game. And if you look at the other side defensively, speaking from the defensive standpoints, the fumble lost by Tommy Lee was the telling
turning point in the game
that really hurt them ultimately at the end. Of course, we're going to talk about Ken Crawley giving up that touchdown was another bad play on defense, but the defense was pretty much out of it pretty much this game. They surrendered 18 points in the fourth quarter. That's unreal. Von Bell led all the Saints defenders and tackles. He had a total of 9. He had a sack as well. Marcus Williams had 8 tackles and 2 interceptions in this game. He also had 2 pass defense, so big game for him. And despite Ken Crawley getting toasted, he had 6 tackles in this game. Cam Jordan also had a sack in this game as well. He finished with a sack in the game.
That's a telling stat, though, that your 2 safeties were the leading tacklers.
They were making to the third level.
Everything's making it to the third level of the defense, so that means we weren't having the production that we needed from the line or the linebackers.
I think a lot of this stuff, man, if you take a good look at what the Saints were doing, and we look at some of the stats from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we saw they had 81 plays versus the Saints 50-something plays. That's ridiculous, man.
Then you got the time of possession, what I believe was, 30? They had the ball for 39 minutes or something, and we had it for like 29.
Absolutely crazy.
You got that going on. You can't expect the defense to not be tired after 81 plays, I don't think we got the running game going the way we should have to be able to chew up the clock and beat their defense up the way we should have, and buy our defense some time and some Gatorade. So when you're doing that and you get 3 turnovers, but you don't really score on any of them, it's almost an enigma. We also had the Atlanta game where we got 3 turnovers and we found a way to lose that game, man.
It's absolutely crazy, man.
It's really
they didn't
crazy.
Win this game. Let's listen to what Sean Payton got to say after this crazy game. Here's Payton.
Obviously, didn't finish the game the way we would like to have. Congratulate Tampa. It was a impressive 2-minute drive. There'll be a handful of things we'll look at quickly to get cleaned up, and then here we go. We get started. Be a good week of preparation, and we start kind of a whole other season right now. Any questions?
To win the division.
Yeah. Listen, it was. I think as you start the season, it's one of the objectives, and I think. Look, you look at the division and you say Carolina, Atlanta, New Orleans, and it was strong this year. So, congratulations to all those teams. They did a good job. It's pretty impressive. It was well blocked. Mike's done a good job, creating the confidence. We almost had a few we felt earlier a few weeks back. And, hit that seam and quickly change field position. It was a big play. No. I think there's just that minute of, and then he went with it, so no. Listen, we'll make the corrections. And not just the end of the game. I mean, we'll look at, there was a number of penalties. I thought we were sloppy offensively early on. So we'll look at this tape tomorrow, and you just can't shelve it away. And I think you got to make your corrections and then quickly get on to the opponent. Pardon?
Let's go, Sean Payton breaking down some stats and breakdowns of the game against Tampa. We're about to go into our next break here on Sports Coma Live. When we come back, we'll continue more interviews. We'll hear what Mike Thomas has to say about this fantastic season. Also, we have others like Drew Brees who will comment. We also have some more stats, facts, and breakdowns on the Saints, and then we'll move into some LSU talk. Listen to the Sports Coma Live.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is The Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out The Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Clear, clean, great-tasting filtered water. We're all thirsty for it. But in the U.S. alone, an estimated 2.5 million plastic bottles are added to the environment each year in search of the perfect drink of water. There has to be a better solution, and there is. Crystal Quest, a leader in the manufacturing of water filtration technology, has been providing clean, drinkable water for 20 years. Crystal Quest has been recognized by such leaders as Consumers Digest, Dr. Oz, and Colin Ingram's The Water Drinking Book, offering our customers the cleanest and most environmental-friendly drinking water at a rating of high purity. With Crystal Quest's water filtration technology, you can rest assured that your water will be crystal clear. Contact our network of authorized distributors and join our thousands of satisfied customers.
Just log into theposhLifestyle.com. Once again, that is theposhLifestyle.com.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Argue. The new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings and potential moves, unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Follow The Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to The Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. The best fucking sports podcast in the country.
Welcome back to The Sports Coma Live. That's right, live. And what does that mean, Sports Coma Live? What's the difference between the live edition and our regular edition? Well, the live edition will come to you straight at the YouTube, straight live from YouTube, which spans out to the rest of our social media platforms such as Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. You can access it there as well. So you can be able to chime in live and give us your take as well, send questions in, whatever. Please feel free to visit our Patreon page and donate to the show to help build a platform, or simply go to our social media platforms, to Sports Coma on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or even the PRO Media Network on YouTube, and subscribe to help build a platform. So that is, that was a lot going on in the last segment. This segment here, we'll finish up with our Saints discussion. We'll hear what Drew Brees has to say going forward. Then we'll segue into some final thoughts on the game, getting ready for the Carolina Panthers matchup with Saints, which another little piece of information I want to give out is the fact that the Sports Coma now is set for, in the new year, of course, 2018, doing big things. That's right, doing big things. Starting this Friday, the Sports Coma will be broadcasting live. That's right, live Mondays at 12 and Fridays at 4. We'll have those times posted on our social media platforms, and as well as in the description boxes of our videos, where you can sign in and listen to the Sports Coma live, or send questions or comments or whatever you have to us, and we'll get to you with those. So without further ado, here's Drew Brees comment on the loss to Tampa Bay.
It's a little solemn, obviously, just the way that game ended. Obviously, that was one we felt like we should have won. But bottom line is we are NFC South champions, and it's a lot to be proud of. It's been a long season. You know, we've had our ups and downs at times. I think we've shown ourselves what is possible. You know, and obviously you play the regular season to give yourself an opportunity to get into the tournament, and that's where we are now. So we get to host a home playoff game against Carolina, and we'll see where it takes us from there. But no more important game than obviously the one right in front of us, where we're going to need to be our best.
Offensively today.
Yeah.
How do you think you guys were?
Well, felt like there were some missed opportunities.
That's Drew Brees chiming in on his thoughts on the Tampa Bay game. Of course, I don't have too much criticism for Drew Brees because I think Drew Brees prepares hard. He does a lot of fantastic things. He's been carrying his team on his back since he's gotten here.
Walter Payton Man of the Year.
I mean, he's a guy, man. He does it right. If anybody point to say, well, how do I get an idea how to prepare for games? I would point at Drew Brees and say, do what he does. Listen to him.
Right.
But this game here, the only one critique I would say and criticism I would say of Drew Brees is that he does not scramble enough. And I understand the fact that he's in advanced age. I get that. But I also understand the fact that you shouldn't take sacks if you're worried about getting hurt. So throwing the ball away, or hey, nobody spies Drew Brees. Nobody. So if the pocket opens up, like it opened up for Jameis Winston, you just happen to have this 20-yard blank of grass in front of you, what's wrong with you scrambling for 10 yards?
I like how you try to compare a 23, wait, is he 23? 23-year-old to a 39-year-old.
The same 39-year-old
wait,
who outpasses him?
One of whom?
Who outpasses him?
One of whom
for the last 3 years outpasses him.
Drew Brees ain't never ran no 5-second 40, man.
Only thing I'm telling you is that it's nothing wrong with occasionally scrambling when you
There
don't
is
see
nothing-
anybody else, and they cannot
How
touch
many
you.
times you seen Dan Marino scrambling when he got over?
He is not Dan Marino. Drew Brees is a lot more mobile than Dan Marino. Trust me on that. Dan Marino was a statue back there. So were guys like Drew Bledsoe. Even Tom Brady, as slow as he is, knows to scramble for yards when he don't see anybody
I've seen
open.
Drew Brees
But
run
taking
for a touchdown this
but the perception is that Drew Brees will get hurt scrambling when there's 20 yards of space between him and the next defender.
I don't.
Or what is more sensible? He gets hurt scrambling when there's wide open field, or he gets hurt taking a sack.
I don't think his concern is about getting hurt. Obviously, if he was concerned with getting
then why
hurt,
not scramble? Why are you holding the ball beyond the time frame?
He
knows better than that.
He would be throwing the ball away, like any sensible quarterback would. What's plaguing Drew Brees is the same thing that made him great. He always thinks he can make a play, and he's trying to hold on to the ball to the last second to make that play. And, he's a split second slower than he was maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So he's got to readjust and learn that he can't continue to do that.
Here's a little something from Mike Thomas. Then we're going to segue to our LSU talk. Here's Mike Thomas on setting the NFL record.
Record-breaking, Mike.
It's a single season record.
It's a blessing to be in that opportunity to be able to, be in this position and then get the job done. And as unselfish as it may be, it's just an individual stat. It's something that a goal that, you set and then you reach it and you just kind of move on, trying to win games.
After the rookie season you had, though, is that something you thought could happen this year?
I just knew with a quarterback like Drew Brees behind center and this offense and firepower and a guy like Sean Payton, you just want to do what you're asked and catch the ball and the sky's the limit, see where it takes you.
That's Mike Thomas talking about, man, I just want to do my job. He is the ultimate professional, the ultimate young player that you want on your team. Guy like Alvin Kamara, guys like Mark Ingram, Cam Jordan. These guys are terrific pros, and I'm just happy that the Saints have these collection of guys together. Means a lot, not just for this year, but going forward. These guys are young, and they're giving new life to old guys like right here, Drew Brees, like DC likes to call him. But that'll be enough on our Saints talk. Y'all can join us Friday. Our Friday show at 4:00. We'll preview the Carolina Panthers game. We'll break down with stats, facts, and analysis on why we think who will win the game and why. So you can tune in for the Sports Coma on Friday at 4:00.
Saints, man, God on their side.
Okay, let's move into our next discussion. We'll talk about the LSU Tigers. Now, DC, the Tigers met up with the they shouldn't have met up with this team, but they faced off against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in the Citrus Bowl.
They faced off, all right.
And they got their face off.
That little Irish dude
in the
punched
game.
him right in the face.
The little Irish guy.
Come here, Tigers.
Punched their face off.
Lucky leprechaun.
And I don't say punched the face off. It was one of those games where LSU did have the game, did have control of this game, and then, they allowed the team to come back. They allowed the Tigers allowed Notre Dame to have their best quarter. They kept them quiet for 3 quarters, and then allowed them to score 15 points in the final quarter. to win the game 21-17. Of course, even if the LSU Tigers would hit both those missed field goals that they missed early on, they still would end up losing the game 21-17, 21. They would have won the game.
No, LSU would have still been down by 1 point if they would have hit that.
They would have won 2 field goals. They would have won
23-21.
But of course, things don't win. We can't go back and take them. Darius Geis finished his miraculous career at LSU. He had 21 carries for 98 yards. Now, what I didn't like is Coach Orgeron kept Darius Geis on the final drive of the game. He kept him out. I think that things would have been a lot different if he would have had him in those last 2 drives. Why bring him all the way there and reward him by playing in this game by then keeping him out of the final drive? To me, that was stupid, back ass, and he should have been in the game. If you're going to bring him all the way up to that point, because most of those guys, they would have said, I'm not playing. I'm worrying about the NFL.
Maybe they felt Williams was a better pass protector. And, I mean, the amount of time they had, they wasn't going to throw a lot of passes out of the backfield, man. We don't have a very complete passing game. So
it's absolutely awesome because Danny Atlin, good riddance to you. I mean, good luck to you. 19 of 33 Atlin, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns a game. Not bad. His numbers
that's miraculous for him.
Don't look bad, but it just – if you watch the drives, right? If you watch him live, he lacks confidence. He doesn't have a strong arm. The offense sputters behind him.
What does he have?
He's just like the basic blithe quarterback that you could possibly want. I mean, I'm just good luck to you, Danny.
In his defense, we don't have the best offensive line, and our receiving core does need improvement. So it wasn't like he had a Ferrari of an offense to play with. Basically, Darius Geis was the offense, and DJ Chalk would occasionally make plays. And, and Williams was definitely a playmaker as well.
I think that's big ups to Darius Geis, and good luck in the NFL. Big ups to you. Much success as the Tigers did out total yards this team, 399 to 368. They had Notre Dame had 2 turnovers. LSU, no turnovers, didn't matter. Ultimately, too many big plays going up, too many lost opportunities. Jackson, the big overrated cornerback, tries to strip the ball from Boykin, who ended up running for the touchdown. So he says that the man pushed off on him, but you knew that you should have tackled the man. Why was you trying to strip the ball at the initial place? Right, and then you get back into the play only to fall down and stumble. You would never seen Deion Sanders do that. You would never seen Peterson do that. You would never seen none of the really good cornerbacks do that because they wouldn't have gambled to try to make a strip. They would have made the tackle.
Or if they made the strip, they would have made sure they secured the player to be able to make the tackle.
Exactly. So right, perfect point. So the Notre Dame Fighting Irish win the Citrus Bowl over LSU. They lose out in the win. Tigers go 9-4. And finish. What is it looking like going ahead in 2018? What do you think?
It was a good experimental season this year.
What does 2018 look like?
We have to see because we got a lot of new recruits coming in. The recruiting class that we got looks to be very promising. But you can have a lot of recruits look promising. You don't know till you get them in the building and they start going through the spring games and you kind of see what you got. The biggest concern with LSU to me is we need to do something at quarterback. I mean, it's been so long. The best quarterback we've had at LSU probably in the last decade has been Zach Mettenberger.
Wow. That's been so long ago.
We need a quarterback desperately, and we have to see what are they going to do to address the need of an offensive coordinator after getting rid of Matt Canada after only 1 year. So it's kind of surprising me. I don't think he was the worst offensive coordinator. He didn't really have a lot of pieces to work with other than Darius Geis and a few decent receivers. I think he should have had a little bit more time, but maybe him and Coach O really can't stand each other.
That's another thing, man. Is the uncertainty of the offensive coordinator position. They talking about putting Ernst Sminger back in the game, which he didn't look too terrific either on his offense. So that's some boring football. You don't put that old guy back at the helm offense. So
his name is Ernst Sminger.
Whatever it is, it sucks because we need vibrancy. We need young upcoming. Get it right, man. It's going to be interesting to see. He needs time to build his program. Coach O is a recruiter, but is he a coach? Is he a winning coach? We'll see. And then upcoming season. So stay with us. We'll go into the second hour and we'll talk some more sports with you. You listen to the Sports Coma Live Edition. Stay with us.
listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
At the Posh Lifestyle, I go there for all my health needs. They offer great deals on organics, water filters, healing magnetics, healing crystals, clothing, books, DVDs, vitamins, and a lot more. They even have free shipping when you spend over $100 on most products. With secure online ordering, fast service, and great products, I save some money, and I'm improving my health doing it. It's a win-win. So do what I did. Go to shop.theposhlifestyle.com. That's shop.theposhlifestyle.com. That's shop.theposhlifestyle.com. So upgrade your lifestyle with The Posh Lifestyle and love what you do.